Okay, this is Alfred's Essentials of Music Theory, Unit 7, Lesson 27. As with all my videos, I highly recommend that you have this book and that you've done the work already before checking out this video so that you can make your own mistakes and learn from them. Anyway, let's get right into it. This is the unit covering tetrachords and the beginnings of scales. So the sharp scales, G and D major, using the same pattern for tetrachords of whole step, half step, you can build the sharp scales of G major with the G and D tetrachords. G is the second tetrachord of the C major scale. So if you remember your C major scale, it's C, D, E, F, then you've got G, A, B, C. So this is literally the second half of the C major scale and also the beginning of the G major scale, okay? And all of the scales work like that, right? Like the second tetrachord of the G major scale is the D tetrachord. And guess what? The D major scale starts with the D tetrachord, okay? So once you start to kind of get this stuff, it all kind of starts to build on each other. Or on itself. Okay, so here we go. G tetrachord is G, A, B, C. And the D tetrachord is D, E, F sharp, G. Let's take a look at why we need a sharp there, right? Because your scale is whole, half. Your tetrachord is whole, half. So from D to E is a whole step because you have that little half step in between. From E to F would be a half step. So you got to hit that F sharp right there to make it a whole step. So E to F sharp is a whole step. And then from F sharp to G is a half step. So whole, half. And then again to see it on the keyboard, whole, E to F sharp, whole, and then F sharp to G, half. Okay, so you really got to know that keyboard, so especially as we start getting into more complex scales. Using the same pattern for tetrachords, you can build the sharp scale of D major with the D and A tetrachords. D is the second tetrachord of the G major scale. So here we go. D major scale. The key note is D. You've got D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D for the A tetrachord. So it's two tetrachords separated by a whole step. Okay, important, I kind of already discussed this. The second tetrachord of the C major scale is the first tetrachord of the G major scale. The second tetrachord of the G major scale is the first tetrachord of the D major scale. Starting with the C major scale, the second tetrachord is always the first tetrachord of the following sharp scale. This overlapping pattern continues through all the major sharp scales. Now, just to explain quickly what's going on here. The C major scale that we discussed in lesson 26 has 0 sharps or flats, correct? Now look at the G major scale here. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G has 1 sharp, right? Now the D major scale has D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, 2 sharps. So the C major scale has 0 sharps. The G major scale has 1 sharp. The D major scale has 2 sharps. Now I'm getting a little ahead, but can you guess how many sharps the A major scale has, right? It's going to have 3 sharps, okay? And it goes like that all the way up through 7 sharps. And you could probably keep going further if you wanted to get crazy with it. But here we go. Exercises. Number 1, write the tetrachord starting on the following notes. Then add note names below the staff. The notes must be in alphabetical order. Remember to include the necessary accidentals right where the whole and half steps occur above the staff. Okay, so G, A, B, C. Remember, we're in bass clef. And here's going to be your whole step there, half step. Between B and C again on that keyboard, there's no black key, so that makes it a half step, even though you're going from white key to white key. All right, next one, we're still in bass clef. This is going to be your A, Then you're going to have your B. Let's get our ledger line in there. And then let's get our D in there. Now I skipped something, and you might have already caught that. But what I skipped was the accidental on this one. You'll see what I mean here. So from A to B is a whole step, right? And remember, we need whole, whole, half for our tetrachord. From B to C, again, is just a half step. So unless we do something to one of these notes, that's just going to be a half step. If we just go from B to C, that's a half step. And we can't really change the B because that would change this, right? If we made the B flat, then from A to B flat would only be a half step. Or if we made the B sharp, then this would be more than a whole step. So we can't change the B here, and it has to be an issue with the C. So to make the B to a C a whole step, we're going to have to go ahead and sharp that C. So B to C sharp, and then that's going to be your whole step. And then just nice and naturally from C sharp to D, that's going to be your half step. So with our tetrachord, whole, whole, half. And there you've got it. All right, D, E, F sharp, G, D, E, F sharp, G. And there we go. Again, check your keyboard. So you've got a whole step here, half step here. You know, you can always start with the alphabetical order. If you forget the sharp, you'll figure that out once you start looking at your keyboard and seeing, is it a whole step? Yes. Is it a whole step? If you just had F there, you'd check your E to your F, right here, E to F, and you'd be like, ooh, I guess that's not a whole step. That's only a half step. So then you'd have to sharp that F. So always reference that keyboard if this is new to you, if it's not really natural. All right, now I'm just going to go quickly through number 2 and 3 just so you can check your answers with very minimal explanation. Okay, what they're asking is to write a G major scale, add the scale degrees, and indicate where the whole and half steps occur. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And there you have it for G major. Number 3, write the D major scale, add the scale degrees, and indicate where the whole and half steps occur. Okay, so in alphabetical order, let's start there. So we're starting on our D. So we're just going to go ahead and write E, F, G, and we'll worry about the accidentals later. And then we start over. We have G to A, B, we're going to need a ledger line, C, and finish up on that D. Now let's also remember that other rule from the previous page. Oh, let's put our scale degrees in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now remember, from the previous page, they talked about the half steps occur between 3rd and 4th, and 7th and 8th, and then the rest are all whole steps. So let's just check that out. Half step, half step. Is F to G a half step? Let's look at it. F to G, no, that's a whole step, right? So we're going to have to change that F to an F sharp to make that a legitimate half step. Now let's go up from here. C to D, is that a half step? Let's check it out. C right there to D, no, that's a whole step. So again, since we're dealing with the sharp scales, we're going to have to go ahead and sharp one of those. And obviously if we sharp the D, that's going to make the interval bigger, not smaller. So we're going to have to sharp the C. Okay, And then, now remember, the rest of them are all whole steps. Whole, 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 whole. So between 3rd and 4th and 7th and 8th are half, and the rest are whole steps. So let's just double check our work to make sure that we got this correct. D up to E. Yes, that's a whole step. E up to F sharp. Yes, that's a whole step. We already checked that. G up to A. There we go. Yes, that's a whole step. Let's go A up to B. Boom. Yes, that's a whole step. Let's go B up to C sharp. B up to C sharp. Yes, that's a whole step. And we already checked the last half step. So I hope this helps. And that is lesson 27. Enjoy, and if this makes sense, go ahead and check out the next lesson, 28.